And Mr. Sandoval, thank you so much for your patience. Court is calling 2023 CR 4281A, State of Texas versus Vanessa Rubio. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
For the state.
Defense,
Your Honor, good morning. Frankie Sandoval on behalf of Ms. Rubio.
are you Ms. Rubio? Counsel, have you received all the discovery and did you review it with your client?
I have, Your Honor.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Ms. Rubio, I'm showing you what's entitled Application for Community Supervision. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yes, I did.
Did you understand you're charged with the offense of theft of a firearm? That's a state jail felony. The range of punishment is anywhere from 180 days up to 2 years in the state jail facility and up to $10,000 fine. Did you understand? If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea bargain agreement. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes.
Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call in the right to remain silent?
Yes.
Did you understand by entering this plea bargain agreement, you were giving up those rights?
Yes.
Did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case? Ms. Rubio, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea?
No.
Has anyone promised you anything other than the plea?
No.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived her right to jury trial. Showing you the plea bargain page, did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes.
According to the plea, punishment is to be assessed at 2 years in the state jail facility. State is not making any recommendations on your application for deferred. Is she applying for deferred?
And Your Honor, for clarification, after the discussion with Ms. Rubio, we would respectfully request that we go forward on a regular community supervision. Your Honor, she does not wish to apply for deferred, and in the interest of justice, pending any type of evaluations that the court sees, deems them fit, I would ask for sentencing today, Your Honor.
All right. So the state recommends community supervision. They're taking consideration night mag number 716819, grand jury number 785613, JN number 2097716. There's to be restitution to Kyle Barney, KYLEBORNE. And you ought to agree that this crime was committed as a party with William Gordon and Nicholas Sarabia. Did you understand that to be the plea? Defense, is that the plea?
It is, Your Honor.
State, is that the plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, state and defense, if you'll an issue where the defendant has decided to proceed for regular probation. Outside the agreement, the state is recommending that your community supervision be for a term of 3 years. There be a TAP evaluation and 200 hours community service restitution. Did you understand those are recommendations from the state and the court does not have to follow those recommendations?
Yes.
Then to the offense as charged, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
No contest.
State any evidence?
State offers State's Exhibit 1 and all of its attachments.
No objection, Judge.
Showing you what's entitled waivering consent to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Did you review those documents with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence State's Exhibits 1 and attachments and review the same. All right, after reviewing State's Exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there's sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and the court will find you guilty. Are you proceeding with sentencing?
In the interest of justice, that would be our request, Your Honor.
Anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
Your Honor, I stand here with Ms. Rubio. As the court is aware, we had a minor issue with respect to her bond. In order for judicial efficiency and to get on with her life and begin the process of putting this behind her, she sought my direction at attempting to resolve all matters. And that's what she wanted to do today, is to accept responsibility, come forward and start the process of putting this behind her with whatever conditions the court deems appropriate, given the totality of the circumstances and the information the court learned today.
All right. Are you employed?
No.
How do you support yourself?
Currently I am not, since I went to jail for this, I lost my job, so I'm still looking for another one.
So when's the last time you were employed?
The beginning of June, or the middle of June, I guess. Maybe about the middle of June.
Do you have any children?
Yes, 2.
What are their ages?
She just turned 12 and 14.
Who do they live with?
They reside with both me and their dad.
Who is the father?
William Bloodworth is one of them.
I'm sorry, who?
William Bloodworth. He is the father of my daughter.
Mhm.
And my son's father is not involved. He takes that place of that.
So you're saying you're living with William Bloodworth? Yeah, but in this, it says that Nick Sarabia is your boyfriend. That's what it says in the police report.
Okay.
No, I mean, it's not okay. That's what it says in the police report.
And
So
he
who is
was-
this other person?
That is my kid's, sorry, that is my kid's father.
No, you didn't mention Nick Sarabia as being the father
No,
of
he is
any.
not the father of my kids.
No, excuse me.
I'm sorry.
Can you tell me what she just said in regards to Nick Sarabia?
I didn't say anything. on this.
Asked her, do you have any children? Yes, 2. What are their ages? She's 12 and 14. We asked, who do they live with? Her response is they reside both with me and their dad. Who is their father? William Bloodworth. William Bloodworth is his father, is the father of my daughter. And my son's father is not involved. He takes that place. You want me to keep reading?
Yes, please.
Yeah, but in this, it says that Nick Sarabia is your boyfriend. That's what it says in the police report. She said, okay, no, it's not okay. That is what it says in the, that's what it says in the police report. And she says, that is my kid's, sorry, my kid's father, no, and then I have cross thoughts.
Oh.
I didn't mention that Nick Sarabia is being their father.
All right, thank you. So you said that Nick Sarabia was the children's father, but you just told me that,
I'm sorry, he is not the children's father. He was the boyfriend at the time. He is locked up right now. We have not spoken.
Mhm. And then why were you dishonest with me about your drug test?
I'm sorry. That was 7 days ago. I didn't think that it was me.
No. That should not be in your system from 7 days ago. When's the last time you used and what are you using on a regular basis?
7 days ago.
What are you using?
There was meth on 7 days ago.
No, listen to my question. What drugs are you using?
Meth.
How often are you using meth?
Last time I did it was 7 days ago. 7 days.
And what else are you using?
Nothing else.
And what is the father, Mr. Bloodworth, what is he using?
Nothing. Oh, your brother? Nothing.
I find that people,
We don't live together. We both share custody of my kids. They live with me and then they live with their dad.
okay,
We
she's,
do a joint custody.
time out. You're being very dishonest and slippery with me because I asked you, my mind is a steel trap, but I wanted the court reporter to read back because maybe my mind is failing, but I highly doubt that. You told me that your children were living with you and their father, and you said the other father he's not a part of anything. Now you're telling me, oh no, he doesn't live with me. It's on and off. You've been dishonest with me from the very beginning. You were dishonest when I asked you if you're going to be positive. You were dishonest about that. Then you were dishonest about Bloodworth. I don't even know if this is this person's real name or not. Then you were dishonest about Sarabia. At first, and later you said he was the father of your children. Now he's not the father of your children. You're just being dishonest all across the board with the court, and I don't appreciate it. And dishonesty has nothing to do with nerves. You heard my questions. My questions were very specific.
Yes.
All right, this is what the court is going to do. I'm going to find you guilty. I'm going to recall the warrant. I'm going to sentence you to 2 years in the state jail facility, suspended and probated for 4 years. There's to be no unsupervised contact with minors. Is CPS involved in your life?
No,
Well, I mean, why are you saying no? Like they should be. You're using meth and you're taking care of children. CPS should be involved in your life. So I'm going to want CPS compliance. If CPS is involved in her life, I don't know if they are or not. She's been dishonest with the court. I'm going to want the UA hotline until further notice. Intensive parenting classes. I'm going to want field visits, random, one time per month until further notice. Please check on the children. There's to be no contact with the person who she's saying may or may not be the child's father. There's to be no contact with Nicholas, Anthony, Sarabia. And that means if he's at the Bexar County Jail and he calls you and you know it's coming from the jail because they're going to ask you if you'll accept the collect call, you need to hang up because otherwise I'm going to count that as contact. And it's easy to see if that's happening because they keep a record of every phone call from the jail. Do you understand? There's to be no contact with William Clark Gordon. There's to be regular reporting by Zoom or in person. Proof of employment within 30 days. There's to be no employment as a home health care provider or with minors. Taking consideration NIMAC number 716819. And Brittany, if you could do the rejection for me on that case. All right. All right. It's NIMAC number 716819. Grand jury number 785613, JN number 2097716. 200 hours of community service restitution. Those will not be waived. TAP evaluation. And once the TAP evaluation is complete, she's going to start with intensive outpatient treatment. And the court is noting for the record that she's agreed she was acting as a party. With William Gordon and Nicholas Sarabia. Probation, is there anything else she needs? Oh, and I'm sorry, there's to be restitution, if any, to Kyle Burney, KYLEBORNE. Is there anything else you need from the court to be successful? I'm sorry?
I don't think so. I think everything sounds like it's gonna help.
Going to show you what's entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Rights to Appeal. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yes.
Because this is a plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargaining agreement, and because you waive your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Do you understand?
Yes.
Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what a weapon or ammunition is, you'll need to speak to an attorney. Do you understand? All right, we can go off the record. Here's the thing. Your children are depending on you to raise them, and they cannot be raised by you if you are using drugs. And the people that you bring into your children's life should be people who are not using drugs. Do you understand? All right, good luck to you. All right, court is calling 2022 CR 4248B, State of Texas versus Katrina Mendoza. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Brittany Mitchell and Marissa Giovenco for the state.
Defense?
Good morning, Your Honor. I'm Todd McCray for Katrina Rose Mendoza.
And are you Ms. Mendoza?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, have you received all the discovery and did you review it with your client?
Yes, sir.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Ms. Mendoza, I'm showing you what's entitled application for deferred adjudication. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it and did you sign it?
Yes, ma'am.
Showing you what's entitled true bill of indictment. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
Yes, Your Honor.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
Your Honor, we are proceeding under count 1, paragraph B, and waiving the remaining counts, Your Honor.
All right, any objection to the waiver of count 1? Excuse me. Any objection to the waiver of count 1, paragraph A, count 3, count 2, count 4, and count 5?
No, Your Honor, that's per our agreement.
Ms. Mendoza, I'm going to show you what's entitled court admonishments and defendants waivers and affidavit of admonitions. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Did you understand in count 1B, you're charged with the offense of assault intentionally, knowingly, serious bodily injury to a child? That's a first-degree felony. The range of punishment is anywhere from 5 to 99 years or life in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If you have a plea bargain agreement with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call in the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Has anyone promised you anything other than the plea?
No, ma'am.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived jury trial. Going to show you what's entitled plea bargain page. Did you review that page with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
All right. So, Ms. Mendoza, paragraph B is assault intentionally, knowingly, serious bodily injury to a child by omission. You understand that
Yes,
is
ma'am.
the offense that you're pleading to?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So with regards to the plea bargain agreement, your punishments be assessed at a cap of 45 years. The state opposes your application for deferred adjudication, and there's an affirmative finding of family violence. And also there is a plea bargain agreement that is attached. And was that attachment filled out today, State Defense?
Yes, Your Honor.
So with regards to your plea bargain agreement, there's an affirmative finding of family violence. What that means is that you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you understand with an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to be designated as primary custodial parent?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you understand as a part of your plea bargain agreement with the state that your sentencing will be postponed until the completion of the trial of Jose Angel Ruiz? Did you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you understand that if you fail to comply with the terms of this plea bargain agreement, that your plea that you enter into, whether you plead guilty or no contest, that plea will stand. And if it's determined that you fail to fulfill your obligations under the agreement, you will be subject to the full range of punishment. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am. I did.
And that full range of punishment is up to life in prison and up to a $10,000 fine. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand that to be the entirety of your plea bargain agreement?
Yes, ma'am.
Defense,
Yes, Your Honor.
state.
Yes.
Next, I'm going to show you the paragraph entitled waiver of appeal paragraph. Did you review that paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it? And did you sign it in both places?
Yes, ma'am. I did.
Did you understand by signing that you're waiving your right to appeal? The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Counsel, have there been any such motions?
No, Your Honor.
Then to count 1 paragraph,
Other than in discovery, we ask for discovery of the phone and the contents of the phone. And the state's response was that the contents of the phone, that's the co-defendant's phone, is still being extracted because there's you might remember the hearing. There's a code there that they haven't been able to break.
All right, and I believe that's, if I'm remembering correctly, I believe that's the case where the defendant offered to,
Right.
Give
Well,
us code.
I'm being told we just got a cell phone.
believe we just got the
Download
second
in,
Cell phone.
so we can provide that to defense
Okay.
counsel.
Very,
All right.
very good.
so,
May have already been uploaded, to be honest. I've already given it to them to be uploaded, so I will double check on that.
all right, Ms. Mendoza, you understand that there's a cell phone dump from the co-defendant's phone?
Yes, ma'am.
And were you aware of this before entering this plea? That there was a cell phone?
Yes,
And were you aware before entering this plea that the state did not have the contents of that cell phone to turn over to your defense counsel?
yes,
All right. The state has informed the court that that has been completed. Do you still wish to continue with this plea?
yes,
And are you waiving your right to have the contents of that phone viewed before entering this plea?
yes,
Defense, is that correct?
I concur.
All right. But even with that being said, state, you're going to provide that information to them?
Yes, absolutely, Judge.
All right, then to count one, paragraph B, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest?
guilty.
State any evidence?
Your Honor, we have for State's Exhibit number 1 and all attachments.
Which
It-
I've reviewed thoroughly with Ms. Mendoza and we find no objections.
All right, I'm showing you what's entitled waiving consent to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Did you review that with your attorney? Did you understand it? Did you sign it in all the appropriate
I
places?
did.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call in the right to remain silent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you understand that today the state would be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports? But most importantly, there will be no live testimony. Did you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence State's Exhibits 1 and attachments and review the same. After reviewing State's Exhibits 1 and attachments, the court is going to find there's sufficient evidence to find you guilty. Court will defer finding you guilty as you've applied for deferred adjudication. Ms. Ferguson, when is the co-defendant set for trial? October 3rd? All right, so the co-defendant's case is going to trial on October 3rd. And we will send this for a PSI. And we will be back. You will most definitely be back on, I want to say October 4th, because we'll have jury trial on October 3rd.
Yeah.
So, Ms. Ferguson, let's just put this on the docket for, let me look at the calendar. So October 3rd, we'll probably do jury selection. So Norma, let's just bring this back on October 2nd to make sure that everything is still proceeding the way it's supposed to proceed. So we'll put October 2nd. And that's not the date you will have your sentencing. According to your plea bargain agreement with the state, your sentencing will take place after the co-defendant's jury trial. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So we're going to bring you back. We can go off the record. We're going to bring you back on October 2nd. Probation on Mendoza, I'll need a PSI done. We're going to bring her back on October 2nd, but the actual sentencing is not going to take place until after the co-defendant's jury trial. All right, so we'll bring you back on October 2nd to see where we are with the jury trial, but the jury trial should be proceeding on October 3rd.
And one final thing, Your Honor, if I
Yes.
may. So you could see that Ms. Mendoza's status right now, because she's dressed in red,
Mhm.
is pretty much what they call isolation. So
Yes.
She's isolated. She only gets 1 hour to be outside of that isolation. We would ask the court respectfully, if the court would review her status.
Mhm.
If she is classified as protective custody status, she gets a few more hours out of the isolation. And I know the court knows this, but she also could participate in classes and things like that. So our plea would be to ask the court to review her status at the jail.
Mhm.
And we would respectfully ask the court to classify her as protective custody rather than the isolation she's in.
All right. Well, what I can tell you is we've had situations of this nature before. It would be best so that I won't have any responsibility if something were to go awry. I'm not saying it would, but if you will reach out to the sheriff or to classifications and let them know you would appreciate her being reclassified, they will usually do that, but they're going to want it in a form of a letter from you signed by your client.
Okay, so you think a letter to the sheriff's classification requesting protective custody might do it?
Yes. And then if that doesn't happen, we can always come back and have a hearing on it.
You understand, Ms. Mendoza?
Yes.
Thank you. Your
All
Honor.
right. You're welcome. Is there anything else?
Nothing further from the state. Your Honor.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.